So, Delvis, the Lakers tonight here in Cleveland, I'm already excited. The question is, will Delvis Valentine make an appearance to a Cavaliers game this year?
Yes, but it will not be tonight.
Why not?
Man, I don't want to see no Lakers. I'm Lakered out.
You, you
I'm
haven't
Lakered
seen.
out. I'm Lakered out. The only time I want to see the Lakers now, if they're showing highlights when Wilt Chamberlain played or Magic played or Kareem, James Worthy. I'm tired of the Lakers. The most over, I don't know who's more over publicized, the Lakers or the Yankees or the Cowboys. Take
The
your
Do-
pick. They all the
Maybe the
same to me.
Dodgers. Maybe the
No,
Dodgers.
because the Dodgers win. Yeah, because they richer than everybody. Cowboys ain't winning, the Lakers ain't winning, and the Yankees ain't winning.
Well, the one thing about it, tonight's game, as most Cavs games, especially this one, will be sold out, and everybody will be excited to see LeBron. And will this be LeBron's last time in Cleveland as a visiting player? Because he could come back next year playing for the Cavs. So we'll see. And unfortunately, you won't be there.
No, fortunately, I won't be there. I will be watching you all on television. Tell everybody there I said what's up, but I don't want to see that circus. Cleveland should handle them. And the Lakers, man. Yeah, Luca could score 40 at any given night, and LeBron could do his thing. But man, it's gonna be a contest of who's the softest front court. Jared Allen and Evan Mobley versus DeAndre Ayton and your homie Jackson Hayes from Cincinnati. I mean, which tissue paper tears first?
Welcome to the Sports Brothers Show. I'm Branson Wright with Delvis Valentine. We have a great show for you today. We're going to talk about several topics, including the there's still openings in the NFL when it comes to coaches, and we'll talk about a high school coach who turned down an NFL job. And we have some great guests for you today. We have Kendrick Perkins of ESPN, formerly of the Celtics, Cavaliers, Oklahoma City. I don't know what other teams, but Perk's our guy, and he'll be in to
Boston,
say a few things.
Cleveland.
Oh, everything, everything. But Perk is here. Will be here to discuss things about the NBA. Who's our other guest, Dell?
We have Steve Wyche, the chief national reporter for the NFL Network. You will see him all over because they have so much coverage for the Super Bowl. But Steve Wyche is a big advocate for HBCUs. And we're going to talk about, because he graduated from Howard. So we're going to talk about some of the things uh, that he's helping with as far as the Black College Football Hall of Fame, and he's just an all-around great guy, great resource for Branson and I.
So, Delvis, speaking of the coaching openings that are still out there in the NFL, has anything surprised you? Did you think that all of them would be filled by now? Are you surprised? Well, I know you're surprised at some of the hirings, but what are some of the things that have stood out for you at this juncture?
That MAGA's going to MAGA. That MAGA's going to MAGA. I mean, that doesn't surprise me because MAGA people are just vile people, and that's what they're doing with their hiring. How is it that you have all of these brothers, and as of yet, and it looks like Nate Shieldhouse won't get the Browns job because I think they're turning everybody off on purpose so they can bring Jim Schwartz, who's a horrible head coach. His record speaks for himself. And why is it that? And one of the things that the Browns are doing, and it's reason why so many people have turned them down is it's a mandate that you have to bring Jim Schwartz as your doggone defensive coordinator. You just saw four defensive coordinators in these conference championships that are better than Jim Schwartz. Anybody could be a good defensive coordinator with Miles Garrett and Denzel Ward and Carson Schlesinger. He's not anybody special. And for somebody to hitch their wagon to an organization that's perennially sorry, perennially losing, and you tell them you got to bring somebody who was part of a team that was 8-20, what were they, 8-25, 8-26, or 8 and something. They only won 8 games in the last 2 years. Like they were 8-26 over the last 2 years. And you want to bring that guy, that defensive coordinator, onto your new team, and the span of a coach is usually 3 years. Unless you're black, then it's 1 year. But hey, man,
Hey,
uh,
but Delvis,
I'm surprised.
didn't the defensive players at their exit interviews say they wanted Schwartz, or did they say they wanted somebody like Schwartz? So, I mean, which one was it?
It was both. I mean, you have some people that are sports fans, but you got to be uncomfortable, man. I did that. I talked about that on one of my Facebook lives. You have to have some uncomfortableness when you're low, when you're not doing well. 8 and 20, everybody should be gone. Andrew Berry should have been gone, and Alonzo Highsmith should have been the general manager. I will say that today, yesterday, and tomorrow. They should have got rid of him as well. I don't understand. He was part of the 8 and 26 as well. So how are you bringing anybody? I wish they could fire the owner. While they're losing games, he's talking about moving a team out of Cleveland. I mean, there's how many different ways is he trying to turn off Cleveland Browns fans? Jimmy Haslam he's a stench in the sports scene of Cleveland, brother.
What bothered me about this whole cycle is, of course, black coaches not getting opportunities, but the fact that Philip Rivers, who was initially a high school coach, got an interview with the Buffalo Bills, a high school coach. Sure, he played in the NFL, but there are a lot of coaches that are eligible to be head coaches that should have got an opportunity to at least interview. And the fact that Philip Rivers, I mean, as we've always said, Delvis, about the goalpost being moved when it comes to certain people getting opportunities at these jobs. So that disappoints me, the fact that a lot of these coaches didn't get opportunities. And I think he was even on your Facebook page that you named quite a few coaches
I could name
that
them
were
now.
prime candidates for these jobs. So, and what are some of those names you had?
Brian Flores. I know they said that. Well, how is he going to get a job when he sued the NFL? He's working for the NFL as a defensive coordinator, excellent defensive coordinator, and exactly what the NFL is doing is proving this point.
And didn't he
I,
have a winning record at Miami when they fired him?
they were one game under, but he had a winning record his last season. By the way, Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator. You have Eric Bieniemy, two times, two times, two times offensive coordinator for a Super Bowl winning team. He's not even getting interviews. Byron Leftwich, offensive coordinator for a Super Bowl winning team. He's not getting anything. Vance Joseph, the quarterback play. I don't know why they got this hysteria about Bo Nix and Sean Payton, but it was the defense that held that whole Denver Broncos team together. He's not getting anything. By the way, I believe he has some Super Bowl winning experience as maybe as a player, but I definitely know he won a national championship as a player with Colorado. You have Ivero, that's the defensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers were light out. The Panthers won the division. Who saw the Panthers winning the division? Nobody.
Nobody.
Nobody. But they won the division. So I just named you five, and let alone if I bring up David Shaw, who was formerly the head coach of Stanford University, 64% winning percentage in the Pac-10 or Pac-12 when it was good, and you haven't heard Stanford football in a positive light since he left. He's working in the NFL. He worked in the NFL before. Now he's working in the NFL after. Has experience. And guess what? He's not getting any interviews. So I just named you six. But you want to go ahead and give this Udinski dude 1 year offense coordinator at Jacksonville did not call a play. But all of a sudden he's exalted. Joe Brady. just got the job in Buffalo. So now you're down to three openers. Buffalo's racist anyway, man. You know, but like I said, these owners are MAGAs. Even the Iron Sheik looking dude in Jacksonville, these cats are
Ah,
MAGA.
shit.
Yeah, you know, Hammer Mazzulla. All of these MAGA people, man, and MAGA people doing MAGA things, but these brothers don't understand how much power they have. If they finally just one day gave a middle finger to the owners and say, we're going to sit out, we can risk a game check, all right, to make a point. Let you try to play games with these with all white players to see how well you do.
Well,
I'll take
Devils, we're going to go to our guests, and we're going to start off with Steve Wyche of the NFL Network, followed by Kendrick Perkins, and we'll be back after we interview our guests. And you're watching the Sports Brothers. Welcome back to the Sports Brothers. We have our guest, Steve Wyche of the NFL Network, the chief national reporter. And Steve, before we get into anything, we want to congratulate you on the Hall of Fame. You're going in as a contributor, graduate of the illustrious Howard University, going in with the class of Jimmy Smith of Jackson State, Eddie Robinson Jr., Alabama State, Nick Collins, Bethune Cookman, Tyrone Poole of Fort Valley State, and Coach Rudy Hubbard of Florida A&M. And man, congratulations! It couldn't happen to a better guy.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, man. I'm absolutely humbled to be going to the Black College Football Hall of Fame. It means everything to me because, we talk about our HBCUs and what you mentioned. I'm a proud alum, especially in today's times, to be celebrated, not tolerated means a lot. And that's what our black colleges provide. Howard helped make me a man, and for Doug Williams and James Shack Harris and the selection committee to feel me worthy to going into that amazing class of players and coaches that you mentioned, man, I'm absolutely blown away.
So when you got the call or the email or in person, tell us about it. Take us through it and describe your emotion when they told you what was going on.
So this is crazy, right? Because I'm on the selection committee. I'm on the selection committee.
it.
So we're going through and we tabulated all of our votes, and it was everybody you just mentioned except for me. And I'm super excited about this class. And a couple of the guys, like, they couldn't get numbers for, like, they couldn't get a number for I think Tyrone Poole or Nick Collins. So I helped them get numbers. When I say them, Doug Williams and James Shack Harris, the co-founders of the Black College Football Hall of Fame. And so we finally got in touch with one of the numbers, and Shaq calls me, hey, thanks for the number. I'm going to call you in just a little bit. So he calls me, and I'm on the elliptical at the gym. So I'm like, hey, man, I'm in my groove. I got to hit you back in like an hour and a half. Driving back home, it's Doug and Shaq. And they're like, hey, man, what do you think about the class? They're like, awesome class, man. Nick Collins is one of my favorite players I've ever watched when he was with the Packers. This and that. And he's like, well, we got one more. I was like, okay, who we got? He's like, Steve Wyche. And I said, oh, Ted White, the Howard quarterback? Because I've been fighting like hell. To get Ted in. He's like, no, Steve Wyche. And it didn't compute. It did not compute, man. So then they're like, congratulations. And I'm like, what? I was like, oh, you guys are slick, man. Because again, I'm on the selection committee. I know how the sausage is made. And they got me. And it's so funny because one of the best assignments, now I will say this, the best assignment I get for the NFL Network every year is for the Pro Football Hall of Fame doing the door knocks, where we set up a ruse to do the door knocks to welcome in the incoming class to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Well, to be on the other side of that was really kind of like, okay, I got a taste of it.
Steve, now one thing that you like to push is HBCUs and the
Yep.
Legacy Bowl. And just this past season, there was a young man, defensive tackle Elijah Williams
Yep.
from Morgan State, that was just wreaking havoc and chaos. Unfortunately, he had an injury late in the year, but you were pushing this dude because he was just dominating everybody in the Legacy Bowl. Do you think, and he was still undrafted, unfortunately,
Yeah.
do you think that scouts and teams will take the Legacy Bowl more serious? Because there are players that definitely can help teams.
Well, look, since its inception, every year there are about 10 to 15 players who either get drafted or invited to camps. Now, from the HBCUs, the players who tend to go to the actual scouting combine or the Senior Bowl, those are the guys who tend to get drafted. Like there's an offensive lineman, blanking on his name right now. The Ravens drafted him out of Alabama A&M, big dude, last year in the 5th round. But when it comes to the Legacy Bowl, there's so many guys on NFL rosters who played in there. Running back for the Green Bay Packers. We have Elijah Williams, as you mentioned, and Xavier Smith for the Rams, who unfortunately had a fumbled punt that may have cost them the NFC Championship. But he'd been great, for a couple of years there. And a story like Elijah, he was somebody who not only he was like the MEAC Defensive Player of the Year at Morgan State. This was somebody whose numbers, he's the all-time leading tackle for loss dude at Morgan State. You're talking about dudes like Willie Lanier and stuff who played at Morgan. And he beat their numbers. And he still didn't get necessarily the attention we thought. He goes there to the HBCU Combine, blows it up, runs well, super strong. And even after the Legacy Bowl, where he was unblocked, he could not be blocked all week. And during that game, he didn't get a training camp invite. The Vikings gave him a rookie tryout. And imagine as a defensive tackle where you don't have pads on. You can't show what you can do with the physicality of that position. And he impressed them enough in that tryout that they let some other guys go. Has a great training camp. They let go some of their veteran players. Like, this is a dude we're gonna put in part of our rotation. And so when it comes to the Legacy Bowl, I do think the NFL scouts pay close attention to it because they're all there to the Legacy Bowl and to the HBCU Combine. They all attend. It is just now we are at a phase with the transfer portal and the NIL where anything that is not part of the FBS, and I'm not just talking about black colleges, I'm talking about Coastal Carolina and Georgia Southern and North Dakota State. Those players don't get drafted anymore. They don't get drafted because if you're good at that level, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Oregon State's coming to get you, right? And, that's how come you're seeing some of these undrafted players make rosters and make impacts like Elijah Williams.
Steve, do you think because we have a lot of players, there have been secondary leagues like the UFL, USFL, X League, and all of that, XFL, they've tried and for the most part they failed because you have a proliferation of so many players with so much talent, not just in HBUs, but in small colleges and even some of the major colleges. Do you think that there can ever be a successful alternative to the NFL, not to be a rival, but to be a complement?
I would say more of a developmental league. I think there could be. Again, it may not get the television eyeballs. It may not have the sponsorship money behind it. But we've seen players come from the UFL and the XFL, even this year, transition into the NFL, the Canadian Football League. I mean, as long as there are feeder type systems, and frankly, I think those leagues might become more important as the NIL money is becoming so rich in college. There's going to be some guys, if they're not frontline starters, first round draft picks, who are going to stick around in college because they can make more money than guys on a rookie contract who aren't getting first round contracts. So again, I think, the UFL and some of those leagues can become more the developmental tool for the NFL with the lure of the almighty dollar becoming more attractive to some of these college athletes.
Steve, when did the NFL, I would say, put a more of a focus back on the HBCUs? Because for a while, well, we go back to the '60s, they got plenty of players from
Sure.
HBCUs, and then suddenly, I don't know, remember which decade it was a law.
Integration, probably in the mid '70s, with integration where black folks were going to Alabama and Georgia and schools like that. That's where it changed.
So now it looks like they're putting a concerted effort to maybe get back and put more of attention there. When did that start, and how did that get instituted, basically, or
Well,
inspired?
let's not give anybody a pat on the back.
Hmm.
But I do think there was a focus because like in 1920, 21, 22, there were like no players drafted, or like one player drafted over a 3-year span from an HBCU. And it's like, whoa. Because I mean, you still have players like Darius Shaq Leonard, the linebacker for the Colts, who came out of South Carolina State. Tariq Cohen, the running back for the Chicago Bears, who came out of NCAA doing work. Right? You're seeing Kobe Durant, the cornerback for the Rams, doing work. There's a lot of HBCU players still doing things, but these guys were not getting drafted. So Doug Williams and Shaq Harris, that's when they created the Legacy Bowl. They're like, well, we can't have this. They were talking to the league like your scouts are just skipping guys because there are players who are getting in the league doing work. How are they not getting drafted? You're taking these guys for granted, saying, well, they're so desperate to showcase themselves, living up to the old, Eddie Robinson just give me an opportunity credo that they'll take undrafted contracts instead of being drafted. Like, no, no, no. We've got to try to force the issue. So this is really on Doug Williams and James Shaq Harris and really pushing the issue and working with the league and getting Troy Vincent, the EVP of football ops for the NFL, to be like, take notice. These kids are still here. There are 37 Pro Football Hall of Famers from HBCUs. We still fill the league with coaches, general managers, and players. Don't just kick us off hungry for the crumbs that will do anything for it, which is true. But don't be just so dismissive and blatant about it. Get your teams back into Grambling and Southern. Man, South Carolina State has 4 Pro Football Hall of Famers. You know how many South Carolina and Clemson have together? 1. Okay, so never forget that. Never, ever forget that even today, the players, Javon Hargrave, those guys are still coming out of South Carolina State. Right, there's a kid out of Morgan State, a linebacker named Eric Hunter, who's the truth. He's balling. He went to the All-American Bowl recently, balled out. He's going to be playing a Legacy Bowl. Hopefully he gets drafted because he's like a dude. So hopefully teams are starting to understand that. But more than the team starting to understand it, I hope some of these young men start to understand, like we started this off, go someplace where your campus life is celebrated and not just tolerated. Yeah, that NIL money is great at Oklahoma, but if you're going to be backing up some dude and then they're going to go to LSU and poach some dude the next year, and instead of you getting 90% of the snaps, you're getting 14, you're not going to make it to the league.
Correct.
So understand that. And our HBCUs have got to understand that the overall experience for these athletes needs to be included in their recruiting packages. And when you're getting guys out of the portal or you're recruiting kids out of high school, like it can happen from here. Just give it a chance and don't be so short-term greedy, because the long-term, your overall experience and you possibly opening a door for yourself to get into the NFL, if you want to work hard enough, it will happen.
Just to change a little bit, Steve, the 10 coaching openings in the NFL
Yep.
This cycle. What's been your thoughts on the people that have been hired so far and the people that haven't been hired so far?
It's interesting to see how some of these, will play out. I like the hire, the Ravens. I was very surprised that they let go of John Harbaugh, but there's so much there. It did seem like it may have been time, for them to go out and get Jesse Minter from the Chargers. One, somebody's going to hire Jesse Minter. He was a hot commodity, but the fact that he had ties to the organization, the fact that he has ties to the Harbaugh family, because he was with John, then went to Michigan with Jim, then went to the Chargers with Jim. It's kind of a natural segue. You're just getting some new, fresh blood in there. I think he's got a chance to be pretty good. Kevin Stefanski going to Atlanta is kind of interesting, because I know you guys are laughing, but I think Kevin's a good coach. I think Kevin can coach. He's a 2-time coach of the year, and I don't think that was fluky. I don't think that was some type of sentimental judgment. He had a lot of things, to kind of cope with, like not having a quarterback in Cleveland. We can say what all we want about how he handled Shador and how that worked, but the odd thing is he's going to Atlanta where, Michael Penix, we don't know what he is yet. So he's kind of walking back into a similar circumstance, except the overall roster is pretty damn good. And he doesn't have to go through the Ravens and the Steelers and the Bengals necessarily to win that division. So I think that's pretty good. I'm still intrigued. You're seeing, some jobs, Arizona's still open. The Raiders are still open. The Browns are still open. My God, how many people have said they're out on the Browns? I haven't seen something like this before.
Have you got a call yet? I'm thinking they're going to call you next.
I'm cool. I'm good.
Let's see, what about in Pittsburgh?
I am closer to the grave than a legal drinking age, so I'm good doing what I'm doing. I don't want to go coach the Browns.
What about Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh's hire.
Why am I blanking on the Steelers right now? See, this is what happens when you're just getting off.
No, that's okay. McCarthy.
No, I mean, that's no surprise. No surprise at all. I see them going offense. What's going to be clear is they're not going to have another 18, 19-year head coach. Right. Mike McCarthy's not coaching into his late 80s. So I think Mike is a good coach. I think Mike also has dealt with circumstances in terms of the front office structure that the Steelers have when he was with the Packers. I think it's much more like let me just coach. Yes, I'm the one voice coach. There's not going to be a lot of other people speaking besides me, but he'll be able to hire a good staff. He always has a good staff around him. They got to figure out the quarterback. I mean, is Aaron Rodgers coming back? A lot of people are connecting the dots. I don't think him and Mike had the best of partings, when they left Green Bay. So I don't know if that's going to be the case. And then once again, that's a band-aid. They've got to do some refreshing there in Pittsburgh overall in that roster. Who knows if Cam Hayward's going to play again, things like that. So, but no, I have no problem with Mike McCarthy. The one thing I'm interested in, is didn't last week Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator for the Broncos, win the assistant coach of the year?
Sure did.
A whole lot of other assistant coaches are getting hired before him, and he's available. And if Vance isn't your cup of tea, whatever, I get it. I've had conversations with Vance and a lot of other coaches, especially black coaches, about this. Don't just take a job because it's there, right? Because almost every team we've seen in the cycle, they're on that 3-year hamster wheel of firing coaches. Is that really what you want to do? You want to go to Arizona and be fired in 3 years? You want to go to the Raiders and be fired in 3 years? Make sure it's a right fit. It worked for Ben Johnson. Sometimes it's a risk to stick around, but you don't want to go into a situation where your overall reputation takes some type of hit just because you go to organizations that really don't have the patience for coaches.
Steve, what do you say when you're having these conversations, like with Eric Bieniemy, Brian Flores? I know a lot of people say things like he sued the league, but it seems like his point is being proven. But you have Vance Joseph, you have Ivero, the defensive coordinator
Yeah,
for the Panthers. You have
Panthers.
David
Yeah,
David Shaw. You
yeah.
have
Anthony Weaver is the real hot minority
right,
candidate, the former
yeah,
Dolphins DC.
yeah, Anthony Weaver, Byron Leftwich, and then you see the Buffalo Bills give a true high school coach in Philip Rivers an interview. I mean, what part of the game is that, my brother?
I mean, look, it's nothing new. It's nothing new, and that's part of the frustration about some of these rising minority executives and head coaches. Like, hey, man, I put in the work. I've got the dots on the resume. You know, Anybody who comes into breathing room with Sean McVay gets a look. Now, I don't have any judgment on that because most of these cats go on and do very positive things. Sean does a great job of coaching up his coaches. But, there's just a lot of frustration, and there has been for years, for minority candidates saying, my resume is out there against the Steelers or for the Packers or for the Panthers or whatever. And this guy's got nothing, but you feel good about him because he's somebody who might be able to relate to the younger guys. I mean, that's your cup of tea. But again, I spoke about a lot of these organizations that do a lot of firings and stuff like that are hoping to catch lightning in a bottle a lot of the times. And it's frustrating to a lot of these coaches who've put in the time, not just minority coaches, but coaches who've put in the time. I mean, that was always Bruce Arians' big gripe. He didn't get it. I don't think he got a job until he got into his 60s. And he did work when he was in Arizona and Tampa.
Steve, what do you think as far as the NFL? We're used to having dynasties. You had the Kansas City dynasty, and it's just now seems like it's ending. San Francisco dynasty, Dallas had a dynasty. It seems like there's a lot of dynasties that dominate the league. Now it's pretty much no dynasty. Is that better or not better for the league as a whole?
I think you can look at it different ways, but I mean, right now with no Lamar and no Patrick Mahomes and Joey Burrow and guys like the ratings are through the roof, man. They can sit there and talk about all they want about, hey, this game's on Amazon Prime, this game's on Netflix, this game's on NBC. People are watching. They're finding
Right.
it, man. It may be a moving target, but it's a bullseye every time it's on. So, it's thriving, and I'm sure the ratings when they come out for the conference championship games this weekend are going to be great. Even though you had that game in Seattle with the Rams, two West Coast teams that may not really matter to people in North Carolina or in Pennsylvania, but they watched. So I think this is what the NFL wanted. They wanted parity. That's why the teams with the worst record get the first pick. They love some of the new superstars. Drake May. You think they're not crazy about having Drake May in the Super Bowl?
Oh
You think they're not loving the fact that Sam Darnold, has got this great resurrection story, and we're seeing Jackson Smith and Jigba and this unbelievable Seattle defense that just leaves carnage on the line of scrimmage. I mean, I think it's fantastic. I think it's really really good. It's different from the NBA. I mean, look at like the Dodgers, right? They got money to burn. They're going to win like the next 10 championships. I mean,
Right.
we see it in the NBA most of the time. That's why I think the NFL is so great because for the most part, teams have a shot, man. They have a shot
On any given Sunday, right?
on any given Sunday and on any given season. Who saw the Patriots? I mean, the Patriots were an absolute nightmare last year. Look where they are now. That's 1 year, man. It's crazy to think like they were a disaster last year. That's why you're kind of like as horrible as the Raiders were this year. And Branson, I know that's your team. And then and I got to tell you, that's one of the worst products. That's one of the worst products I've seen. Some of those games are like, come on, man, what are you doing? But you can flip it. You can flip it if you get yourself a quarterback, a leader of men, and somebody who provides a purpose for the purpose. And that's what Mike Vrabel has done. That's what Ben Johnson has done. You may be X's and O's, but if you can communicate and provide a purpose for the purpose, it can flip quick.
The NFL Network will provide more than 60 hours of live Super Bowl week coverage beginning Monday, February 2nd. Now, having said that, now this is early talking about the Super Bowl. What are some of the storylines that you're looking forward to when
Well,
this
clearly, I
game?
mean, the obvious storyline for Seattle is going to be Sam Darnold, and I think it's a fantastic storyline because he's the pauper who's now the prince, and you can say whatever you want. He's playing football, man. That NFC West is the toughest division in football. He's playing great. Some other storylines. You got all the along with Darnold, you got Leonard Williams. Like the Seahawks are a team of castoffs. Ernest Jones. A lot of players teams didn't want. Cooper Cup, Uchenna and Woso. There's a lot of guys on other teams that they didn't want. And for the Patriots, it's Drake May and Christian Gonzalez are the only Pro Bowlers on that team. Like this is still a team that is a sum of its parts. So it is really, this John Henry, hammering the nail to build a railroad type of team. But there's just there's always going to be some really cool and really good storylines. I think, Ramondre Stevenson, the running back, for the Patriots was going through a tough stuff early part in the season. Now he's balling. I mean, he's on that train that's going anywhere. Kenneth Walker, the running back. But I tell you this though, my two favorite players in this game are the Seahawks secondary, Devin Witherspoon and Nick Eamon-Warry, the first and second year DBs. They're aces that nobody else has. They are total unicorns in the backfield. And Eamon-Warry is like 6'3", 225 running a 4.5. He can cover, he can hit. Like he's that dude. I've already said I think he's going to win a couple defensive player of the years before it's all over. And I'm glad he's going to have the stage as a rookie to show like he is an unmatchable matchup.
Who'll close us out, Delvis? Get the last question.
Steve, what is well, I know who you like, far as which players you're looking for, but what do you think will determine who wins or who loses this game as far as anything from a tactical standpoint, schematic standpoint, or just physicality? But what do you think will be the determining factor in who wins the Super Bowl?
I think it's what we've seen in the last couple Super Bowl lines of scrimmage. Like both of these teams have some defensive lines that are no joke. I mean, that are really, really good. Seattle's defensive line, man, those are the dudes you want to be on their side. But it's the lines of scrimmage. The offensive lines on both sides have some holes. And somehow the Patriots continue to find their left side with those two rookies. I mean, they're vulnerable, but they keep on finding ways, Josh McDaniels, to scheme it up. So I think it's great. And what's really cool in this era we're in of quarterback whisperers and these great offensive tacticians is we got two defensive head coaches leading the teams into the Super Bowl.
That's awesome.
Browns take a note. Browns take a note.
Hey, Steve, thanks for coming on our show, man. And it's always great when one of my peers makes a Hall of Fame. We had Rob Parker on a couple weeks ago, and now you. I mean, this is great, man.
Appreciate it, man. And just think it all started back in the days, back covering the NBA, Branson, back in the day.
Oh yeah, but back in the days before the Cavs got good, and then, well, they're
We
good
talking about they
now.
were good. They had Ilgauskas and all those guys. They had some good Cavs
Uh,
teams. They just had the
that
MJ era.
I'm talking about the Ricky Davis years, and
Okay.
they weren't that good.
No, they
They
were
were
not.
entertaining. They were
The
very
Lamont,
Very.
entertaining.
the Lamont Murray years.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
very entertaining. Well, thanks again, Steve, and let me see, when is the Legacy Bowl? February 21st,
Yes.
and they're going to honor the Hall of Famers, including yourself, I think at halftime. So, uh, wave to us when you're out there on that field.
Hey, appreciate you guys. I really appreciate you guys representing the way you do.
Everybody with the Sports Brothers, Branson Wright, Delvis Valentine, and we have a special sports brothers with us, NBA champion. This brother has carved his own niche in the world of sports broadcasting. Ladies and gentlemen, the never dull, always entertaining, and always truthful, my brother Kendrick Perkins. Perk, what's happening, baby?
Man, I can't call it big bro. Hey, I might want to log out and log back in so I can get that intro again.
like
Hey,
like T.I. said, you could have whatever you like.
look, man, what's going on, fellas? Man, just out here dealing with, what I'm saying, this H-Town, this Texas, they don't know how to act when it's wintertime. You know what I mean? The temperature get 30 degrees. They close down everything. They issue a freeze warning and all this stuff. People outside covering up bushes. My wife had me wrapping bushes the other day. I was wrapping bushes. So people saw me in Home Depot. Was like, Perk, that's you. I was like, yeah, I'm in here for the same reasons you are. Your wife sent you, and my wife sent me.
Hey, well, in Cleveland, we don't wrap bushes. We just let the snow fall on it. We let it get cold, and
Right.
it'll be green again. We
Right.
don't care.
Hey, Perk, this season has been very, very entertaining. For a minute, it looked like the OKC were just going to run away with everything, challenge the Bulls' record for the best record of all time, but they've had a few losses at home. It seemed like some teams, i.e., Cleveland Cavaliers, were expected to do well, but they have been in the middle of the pack. What's been the most surprising thing to you as far as this NBA season is concerned?
Man, I think the biggest surprise to me has been the Cavaliers, to be honest with you. In my opinion, they have been the biggest disappointment when it comes to the Eastern Conference. When you talk about expectations, when you talk about how they fell short last season, a disappointing season, and you heard all the, how guys lost sleep and they was ready for this season. Well, it don't look like a team that's ready for this season. And by the way, they're the only team that's in the second apron, right? So with that being said, that means that they all in. And I've been waiting on a guy like Evan Mobley to take that leap. Like 18 points and 8 rebounds, that's cute. But I need something that look good. You know what I'm saying? I need something that look handsome. You know what I'm saying? I need something that look handsome. Like I need something that's powerful. 25 and 15 a night. That's what I expect out of Evan Mobley. And it's like Donovan Mitchell is giving you everything that he possibly can in the regular season, right? He's always going to perform. But it's like, who is that Robin? Can he be that bona fide Robin? Or is there going to be Darius Garland? Can he stay on the floor? I just think for where they at and where they supposed to be at this point of the season, I just look at them as a disappointment, man. And I hate to say it, but I don't get great vibes from Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. They're not what I expect them to be from a physicality standpoint. And that's pretty damn disturbing. I expect those guys to be, imposing their wills with that athletic ability, that height, that length. It's just not powerful enough for me. So I would say that has been somewhat of the biggest surprise. It's been the Cleveland Cavaliers and where they are and how up and down their season has been.
Perk, do you think, and was my biggest thing, they needed Kendrick Perkins. either on the coaching staff or on the or in the practice. Because if you don't have anybody banging on you, even boxers spar in order to get right for fights. There's nobody to exert any kind of physicality against Mobley, against Allen, against Dean Wade. So therefore, it seems like they're playing soft as tissue paper. Do you think that I think they still have a roster spot. Do you think that they really need to get someone who's like a tough physical guy to at least bang those guys in practice, or do you think they need to go in another direction?
Well, it's not it's not just about, you know what I'm saying, the between the lines part of it. It's upstairs. Like it's the damn mentality of them, right? It comes with a mentality. And see, people take guys like Tristan Thompson for granted for what they bring to the table, being an extension of the coach, being another voice in the locker room, especially when it comes to being a big man that's gonna hold those guys accountable. Like you want a guy to be able to come up to you and say, "Man, hey man, you playing soft as hell, bro. Like I need you to be a grown ass man today." Not from the coaching staff. You need that to come from inside the locker room, but it got to be a voice that you respect. And so you take for granted a guy like Tristan Thompson or what he brings to the table. He's not a guy that's gonna go out there and get you 15 to 20 minutes a game. Hell, he's gonna get you a lot of DMPs. But the one thing you can't replace is his passion, his work ethic, his spirit, and his leadership. And so when you think about a guy like that and you think about placing him on this roster, that's what they need. Accountability. Because that's why they got rid of JB Bickerstaff. They didn't want accountability, right? They wanted it to be easy. Man, winning the championship ain't easy. It's stressful as hell. You lose sleep. You walk into the arenas. You walk into the practice facilities every single day. Sometimes you can't stand the person that you're sharing a job with. You get tired of seeing them because you're around them so much. You're around them more than your family members. But that's how it's supposed to be. Like you're supposed to walk in there on certain days and it's uncomfortable. That's part of going through it.
Perk, when you talk about, I mean, I'm assuming we're talking about toughness. Now, is
Yeah.
this something that you're born with? Is this something that could be learned? I mean, a coach told me a long time ago, either you're a point guard or you're not. You're not going to learn it. Either way. What is it when it comes to toughness? Are you have to be born with it, or is this something that someone can learn?
Well, it got to be in you and not on you.
Well,
Yeah.
well,
So it got to be in you and not on you. And so again, if a person could show you who they are, at some point you got to believe them. You got to believe them. You can't keep begging a guy to give you more or to play with more physicality if that's not who that person is. But I'm not gonna sit up here and say that's who Evan Mobley is. I'm not gonna say Evan Mobley is soft and that's just who he is, right? Because I didn't see flashes of him actually looking like a dominant big. The question is why can't he do it consistently? That's the question. Like it's certain games I turn on and I'm like, man, like shoulder into your chest, dunking, snatching the screws out the rim, not settling for the 3-point shot, 4 or 5 blocks. And I'm like, where's this Evan Mobley at night in and night out? Right. And that's the thing. I believe he has it in him. It's just about consistently approaching the game the same way every single time. Like that mindset, that tenacity has to be there every single time. Now, Jared Allen, he almost on his last straw when it comes down to whether or not he has the toughness. It's too many times I didn't see where it's some stuff that, it breaks out on the floor and, you know what I'm saying, it's time for him to go in there and kind of be the enforcer. And I'm seeing him, where everybody is going right, he didn't went left. That's a problem. That's a problem. So again, I feel like it's something that can be fixed because Evan Mobley is the most important player on the Cavs. Period. I feel like it's something that could be there.
Now let's swing to the best team in the East, the beast of the East, that they don't have any problems with being tough. And I'm talking about the Detroit Pistons. Have you been surprised on their resurgence this year?
Hell no. Hell no. Hey, look, when you have a young stud and a leader like Cade Cunningham, nothing surprises me. When you talk about big guards and like those big guards, big wings, 6'7", 6'8", that's a three-level scorer, but knows how to do it and get it done for us facilitating at all levels as well. He give me flashes of young LeBron, Luca, not Cade, but except Cade getting it done on both ends of the floor. And then you got those two grown ass men down there in the middle. Jalen Duren, who's going to be a first time All Star. You got Beef Stew coming in off the bench. Like physicality is what they made of. I like when I watch this young club and I watch them and I'm watching JB Bickerstaff have all these guys bought in. Like they play agenda free basketball. That is so rare to see. But it's starting to become the new around the league because OKC done set the bar, right? Like far as young guys losing themselves in the team. So what I'm witnessing right now from the Pistons, it don't surprise me. It don't surprise me one bit. I thought, you know what? I'm lying. Coming into the season, I did think that they were gonna fall off because I felt like with them losing Dennis Schroeder, Malik Beasley. I thought those guys bought so much in off the bench, and all of a sudden it's been a plug and replace. Like it's like the next man up mentality, and it's crazy to me, man. Just watching this team and how they embodied the bad boys role. Like they look for that smoke. They 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 looking for all
Right.
chimneys, barbecue pits, whatever smoke at, they run into it. I don't give a damn if it's Newports. They run into it. They see somebody
Right.
fire up a cigarette, they running straight to that cigarette. They got a nose for it. And that's the thing, like you gotta love it. Like, and it's like they give you that old school mentality. It's either Detroit or nothing. If you don't have Pistons across your uniform, then it's like, hey man, we really ain't, and it is what it is.
Perk, it seems like, well, we know now that JB Bickerstaff is going to be coaching the East in the All Star game, which is well deserved. And the way that he was fired in Cleveland, which we thought was garbage and BS, how you going to fire a man to get to the second round of the playoffs and three starters are out, yet you fire him for somebody who's the exact opposite of him? Do you think that JB, that kind of made JB going through that made him a better coach, or do you think that this is just a redemption tour and everybody must pay the price?
Well, everybody got to pay the price. I think JB hasn't changed a damn thing about himself. He just happened to find some guys that's ready to embody what he brings to the table. And see, that's the thing, right? Like you want a guy to make you uncomfortable. You want a coach to call you out in the film room. See, those guys over there in Detroit, they accept that. They embrace that. Cade Cunningham, when I talk about one of the best young leaders in the game, he's that. He's that. If you go ask anybody in the Pistons organization about Cade off the floor, they gonna tell you it's all about basketball. There ain't too many times we gonna see pictures across the internet of Cade Cunningham in the club. He had a, you know what I mean, he had a child at an early age, so his maturity level is just different. The way he approaches is just different. And when you have a leader like that that's ready and he's nasty, he's vicious. So it was a perfect match. And JB, like, I found that guy. But see, JB getting fired, that blood is on Donovan Mitchell's hand.
Mm-hmm.
We know that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it was like Cleveland had to pick one. It was either JB or Donovan Mitchell because they could have lost Donovan Mitchell. It's no coincidence that as soon as JB get fired, Donovan Mitchell signed a contract extension. You know, so it's just that. But man, JB is a great dude, man. Great dude. He is who he is, and I would tell him never to switch up, never to change.
Perk, Branson and I were discussing earlier today whether or not that Giannis is going to be traded prior to the deadline. You know, with him having the calf injury, are the Bucks just going to do a wholesale change on the team because they got the slep rock of sports and Jimmy Haslam can't do nothing right. Browns mess up the Browns and mess up the Bucks. So, what do you think is going to be the future with Giannis and also the future with the Milwaukee Bucks?
And Perk, before you answer that, Del was telling what side I was on and what side you were on.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, Branson said he gonna get traded. I said they're gonna do the usual Jimmy Haslam move. Nothing.
They need to trade him, and Giannis should want to be traded. I don't understand what they're holding on to. You know what I mean? It's almost like being in a bad relationship, a marriage. It's like if y'all been sleeping upstairs in different rooms, you know what I'm saying, for the last year, you know what I'm saying, and damn it, you know, she doing her thing and you doing your thing. Damn it, what the hell are y'all still sharing the house for?
Right.
Yeah, I just don't understand. And you know, it comes to the point where the Milwaukee Bucks, that I get it to a certain extent. We're talking about Giannis. We're talking about arguably one of the greatest power forwards to ever play the game. Now, nobody's even arguing that. All right, we're talking about a generational talent. So it's hard to part ways, but I'm looking at it, I'm like, do you know what you get back from Giannis? Like you know why we haven't seen any trades is because everybody's waiting on the Milwaukee Bucks to see what's going to happen with Giannis, and rightfully so. That's how powerful he is. I'm looking down here in the H Town, and I'm like, man, you know, when you talk about could give up some pieces and be able to keep a core together to go compete and really have a legitimate shot. I'm not saying that the Rockets not legit. But what I'm saying is, if you could package something up around Shangoon and you bring Giannis to the H-Town with KD, man, you talk about moving the needle a little differently now. You know what I'm saying? You talking about next 2-3 years, you talking about doing something, if not this year. So I'm with Branson. I think they should go ahead and move him. I just don't know. Like we literally, what, 8 days away?
Yeah,
8 days
time.
away. Unless Giannis wake up one morning and say, man, I'm going in and really go let these people know that it's time. If he don't, then I don't know if the Bucks are just going to do it on their own. They should, but I don't know if they're going to do it.
Perk, Wednesday night, the Lakers come here to Cleveland to play the Cavs, and nobody's talking about it. I mean, Bron hasn't made any announcement or anything like that. But is there a chance that this could be his last game in Cleveland?
Nah,
None at all.
nah. You know, the one thing that we all should know about Braun is that he wants the attention. And look, he gets all the attention, but he likes it all to be on him. He don't
Yeah.
want to tell none of it.
Right.
He wants that damn farewell tour. And but he deserves it. He deserves it. I
Mhm.
would be surprised if Braun just walk away at the end of the season without making an announcement before his final season. But as much as he has poured into the game, 20 plus years of actually being the face, or you know, over 2 decades of actually being the face of the league, he should want that. And the league should give him that. I don't believe this is his last year. I think he gives it one more shot. I think he's gonna go out where, you know, he goes out the right way. And rightfully so though.
And how do you think the Lakers been playing this year?
I think they've been okay. I think the one thing that we all should, you know, acknowledge is that Luka is one of the greatest offensive weapons that we've ever seen in the history of the game.
Correct.
Despite whatever we want to talk about him defensively and all, his offense make up for that. His offense make up for that. But I will say this: the Lakers are right where I expected them to be, right in the middle of the pack. They're a playoff team. Are they contenders? No, because they got to fix another problem that we just addressed earlier in the show when you talk about their big man, DeAndre Ayton.
Oh,
Now, if they could go out and they could make a move at the trade deadline and get a Daniel Gafford, then they might be working with something. But if not, they go get their ass sent home early. Because your big man got to be a force, especially in the Western Conference, especially when you talk about going against a Jokic and a Chet Holmgren and a Isaiah Hardenstein and a Victor Wembanyama. You got all these guys in the West, man. Your big man got to stand on it defensively. And so just because I just don't have the confidence that mentally and physically DeAndre Ayton is going to be that, I would just say the Lakers are who we thought they are, a playoff team. They're not legit title contenders. And the Laker fans, with they spoiled asses, they don't know
right.
Yeah, I'm saying. They don't know nothing else. They don't know nothing else. All they know is championships or nothing.
Right.
They don't know no in between. So again, what the Lakers go do? They got to make some small tweaks, but I will say I'm not surprised that they're right where they need to be. But that damn Luka, man, damn it.
Bad man. Hey, Perk, I want to ask you one other question, and that's about the San Antonio Spurs. We already know that Oklahoma City is the king of the West, and until somebody beat them, the king of the NBA. How many years away do you think that they are as far as contending for a conference championship and an NBA title? Is it now? Is it a year? Because it seems like they have all the parts that you would need for a championship run. And I just want to know, what was your read on the Spurs?
Oh, the future is now. We're not talking about next year. They're legit title contenders. They got a guy that's different. That could be the best player in a 7-game series and Victor, right? They got great depth at that wing guard position, big guards too. Like these, we ain't just talking about like no small. No. De'Aaron Fox 6'4", Dylan Harper 6'5", Harrison Bourne 6'6", Keldon Johnson 6'7", 6'8". Like they got some dogs. Stephon Castle 6'5", 6'6", and they thick.
Like
they thick. They just can't get bored with the process and get bored through the regular season. But if they stay at that number 2 spot, because I believe home court is going to be vital in this postseason for everybody. But if you stay at that number 2 spot and you get them where they got the first 2, 3, first, second round in San Antonio, what's going to be hell in hot water for anybody.
Hey, Perk, I lied. I did have one quick question, and that is, what's going on in Minnesota? The team, the city is going through a lot of unrest due to these idiots up here shooting people. As a professional athlete, how hard do you think it would be able to concentrate? I mean, they just beat the Warriors, but hardly anybody played for the Warriors, and I think Ant-Man didn't even play for the Wolves. But how concerning is it that the Timberwolves have to play NBA games in that crazy environment, man, in that city?
Yeah, man, it's not an easy task, right? Like you got your schedule pushing back, your routine is messing up, and just from seeing like videos and photos, you see how many people was downtown in Minneapolis? Like I was out here when they had, I was out here in Houston when they did a protest for George Floyd, and it was crucial, right? Like it was crucial. And you got to realize, man, even during the protest, it's dangerous because you don't know what no one is thinking throughout that time. Hell, we already living in dangerous times already in 2026. When stuff happening and I see stuff come across the media or some news break, first thing I always tell my wife, I say, it don't surprise me. Nothing surprises me anymore. So when you talk about people getting together and protest, you don't know what people are thinking. You don't know. You don't know what somebody that woke up and got out the bed and felt like doing that day at this protest, right? And on both sides of it. On both sides of it. You talking about the people that's the law and you talk about the people that's protesting, you don't know what's going on through their mind. Somebody could wake up and say, I'm with the shits today. You know what I'm saying? And you in that environment, man. You just don't know. And it's hard when you're trying to focus and lock in throughout the unknown. That's the hardest thing in the world for anybody in life. I always tell people, hoopers, when they're going through something or they're dealing with adversity or something man, you're never going to get the best version of that hooper. If they dealing with any type of issues outside of basketball, their mind is cluttered. They can't lose. You're not going to get the best version of them. And until somebody is actually in the thick of things, they don't really know. People don't really understand what all comes into play when you talk about dealing with danger. Because that's what we're talking about. Like, we talking about people's lives. Like, this shit is bigger than basketball. We talking about people's lives, man. You know, I wake up every day and I have to remind my wife and my kids every day. I'll be like, listen, do not leave out of this house thinking that something can't happen to you or you can't be that person. Because we all live like that. We all walk out and go in the grocery stores, gas stations, whatever, thinking that it can't happen to you. We all think that. That's how we wake up every day. We never wake up with cautious, right? And it's sad but that's how you got to live your life. Like my oldest son, he's driving, got his own car. I got a constant reminder. Hey, look, bro, if you stopping somewhere, get gas, or you stopping to, hey man, make sure you stopping to somewhere a secure location.
Yeah, well lit.
Yeah. I got to remind him. I got to remind him. I got to remind my wife so that we all know we on the same page. And so, you know, it's just different, man. We living in some weird times. Like straight
Yeah.
up.
Hey, stay vigilant, stay prayed up, and leave us with this, Perk. You know, you got a book, wrote a book, you're in commercials, ESPN working you to death, and you still have time for your son's basketball career. How is that going? And thanks again for being on our show.
Man, I appreciate y'all, brothers, man. Anytime. Man, you know what? I always make time for all my sons, man. All my kids. It's vital. Like, for example, I gotta fly to LA, which is gonna be a headache because they got the Grammys out there. So I know it's gonna be extra crazy. Something I don't look forward to. But I go out there tomorrow morning. I'm gonna be out there till Saturday. I'm gonna catch a red eye Friday night, early Saturday morning, back to Houston. Be home in Houston for the day, that whole Saturday, and I'm gonna get right back on the flight Sunday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning and go back to LA, do a show, and I'm gonna get back on the flight at 4 o'clock that afternoon and come back home. Because every day matter, every hour matter. And throughout the week, I can't see my kids, right? Because they're in school. So them Saturdays, they mean something to me. And so any time that I could put in and be there for them, do whatever it is, even if it's not sports, but just having my presence be there, I'm going to be there. And I just think it's just vital. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people say that it's family over everything, but a lot of people don't live it.
Correct. Right.
Yeah, a lot of people don't live it. And I just make sure I find that balance all the time. Like that balance is key because as you know, when I was playing, I missed so much of time with them that even now while I'm traveling with work, I still, even if it's a sacrifice here, I don't want to, you know what I'm saying, get on a 3-hour flight, turn around and be home for, 15, 16 hours and double back and get on another 3-hour flight, go work a 2-hour show, then get back on the flight. I don't want to do it. I don't need to do it. I want to do it, should I say.
Big difference.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on our show, Perk. Appreciate you.
y'all, my brothers, anytime.
Appreciate you, my
good.
brothers.
Right.
Talk with you
All
later.
right. Okay, man.
Branson, what a show we had. We had
Wow, great show.
Steve Wyche, NFL Network. Oh, man. Kendrick Perkins, ESPN. And like I said in the introduction, and I'm glad he loved my introduction, it's true. He has created his own niche in broadcasting. He does it his way. He says what he feels. And brother, he's well respected, and even his haters are fans, sort of like how you are, bro.
I knew you was gonna go there with that. Oh yeah, great show with those guys. Brought up some great issues, and we look forward to having them on the show again. But I have to give a shout out to Cleveland Heights own Layla Edwards of Wisconsin. She's the first Black woman to make the USA hockey team. And I was fortunate to do a story on her 3 years ago for Anscape. And so it was great to follow her journey. So good luck to Layla. I know Cleveland Heights, they're having some fundraisers for her and her family so they can go out and travel and go to Italy to see her. Her 91-year-old grandmother, she hopes to be on that trip. So good luck to Layla. God bless her and her family and bring back the gold.
Absolutely, brother. That's what it's all about. Everybody else is somebody's first, and everybody else is just next.
That's it. That's it. So great show again, Delvis. Before we close out, we have to tell everyone don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. And we look forward to another show. And I think we got another good show, some good guests coming in next week. And we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I hope so. Tell a phone, tell a friend. The brothers known as the Sports Brothers are back again. Like and subscribe, please.
Okay. So you all been watching the Sports Brothers and
Welcome to the family.
looking for the perfect way to unwind after work? Slide through to Charterhouse Grill for happy hour, Tuesday through Fridays, 4 to 7 p.m. Enjoy $4 off signature cocktails, top shelf liquor, appetizers, and all wine, plus $2 off all beer. Great drinks, great food, grown folk vibes. That's happy hour at Charterhouse Grill, 991 East 185th Street, Cleveland. Pull up, unwind, we'll take care of the rest.
Tampa, St. Pete, and all surrounding areas. Join us for the 2026 Tampa Bay Collard Green Festival, Valentine's Day edition. Love will be in the air Saturday, February 14th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. along the historic Deuces Corridor at 22nd Street and 9th Avenue South in St. Petersburg. This free, family-friendly celebration has something for everyone, including a family zone with a petting zoo, pony rides, and STEM exhibits, plus a free fresh collard greens giveaway while supplies last. Enjoy live music and entertainment featuring Grammy-nominated R&B star 7th Streeter. Learn about healthy eating through intergenerational agriculture demonstrations and experience the culture that makes our community thrive. Think you cook the best collard greens in Tampa Bay?
You ain't never tasted a pot of collard greens the way I cook 'em.
Don't miss the cash prize collard green cook-off. And be sure to visit the TBCGF Taste Tent featuring Chef Lakeisha Harris, a nationally recognized culinary leader and award-winning competitor. Admission is free, so bring the whole family. We implore you to come hungry. Shop local vendors and celebrate culture, community, and health in the heart of the Deuces. For details and updates, visit tbcgf.org.